Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with all the Flat Earth Debate pre-show and after-show goodness. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below this video. Now, we're in between two live shows at the moment, so I'm going to pass over to the live panel while I set up for the next live show, and you can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever is in there while I do precisely that. Shout out to Colin Turner for hitting the super chat before the live show starts.
Carry on, Yvonne.
Well, Arwin did want me to keep a sniping of Slick quiet, which is kind of snaky. That's all I wanted to say.
Ouch. All right. So one of the rabbit holes I went down is going back into mythology in just all around, and just the mainstream parts is a lot of the civilizations in the past. They state that the cause of the solar eclipses, it seemed there's like a similar phenomena. It's either something devouring the sun, like in Vietnam, a giant frog devouring the sun, or in ancient China, a celestial dragon was lunching on the sun. In Hindu mythology, there's a deity that's called Rahu that's beheaded by the gods and swallows the sun, causing an eclipse. And in Korea, it's mythical dogs are trying to steal the sun. And then it's like the Chippewa people. They used to shoot flaming arrows into the sky to rekindle the sun. But tribes in Peru did the same thing, but for a different reason, to scare off a beast that was attacking the sun. And in Norse culture, Loki created revenge by creating wolf-like giants, one that swallowed the sun, thereby causing an eclipse. I mean, what do you guys think? Does that just seem very peculiar? I mean, is that it? Or maybe there's something more to it? Maybe there's some
My question came up when you were describing that was, do they have a myth that explains the reappearance of it rather than the disappearance? You know, do they talk about how it comes back and what that myth is?
Yeah, so the one that was with Rahu, the Indian myth, because they cut off his head, he didn't have a body to digest the sun. So after he swallowed the sun, it just came straight out. So that was one of the re-emergences of the sun. And I think that's a good one that I want to find out. I mean, the ones where they're trying to scare off whatever's trying to steal the sun. I think it's just, yeah, they were successful. They scared off the ones that are trying to attack and steal the sun. I just thought it was just interesting, and
along those lines, in a more of a scientific perspective, when I was in not complete 100% totality where I was at, but I got some good shots, and we got to observe it here where I'm at. And the one biggest thing I kept thinking of, somebody brought it up, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, it's true, is there is no Earth shine on the moon. So even when the solar eclipse is occurring, there should, you can see the sun reflecting off, back to Earth, but there's no reflection of the light back to the moon. But it does seem like there's something other than the moon that's causing it to occur. It would seem like,
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum. If you'd like to support this channel, as Colin Turner's just done in the Super Chat, then you can smash that, or there's a Patreon, PayPal and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now we are joined by AJ, Arwin, Slick James Johnson, Chocolate Sane, Ibon Kim, Flat and Earth, Paul, and The Plain Truth. Good to have you all.
Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Hello. What
Good
ho?
morning from this side.
Hello.
Hello. Very good to have you all.
Afternoon, lads.
Hello, AJ. Very good to have you. Is this your first time here, AJ, or have you been before? I can't remember.
AJ, what's up, man?
I'll
Sorry,
take that.
Nathan. What was that, mate?
I just didn't know if you'd been on this panel before. I know I recognise your name and I've seen you around. I just couldn't remember if you'd been on here before.
I haven't actually, no, but I'll just sit in the background and I'll just listen. Okay, Nathan? Is that okay?
Yeah, you can do what you like. It's an open panel. Everybody's welcome.
Sweet fella. Cheers.
Hey, I've got
AJ, what's up, man?
Paul looking at eclipses. Trying to find Planet X, Paul.
No, we're discussing the oddities of the solar eclipse with the moon, or whatever object that is that's eclipsing the sun. And someone was talking before the show started. I want to hear what he had to say.
No, these images that you're seeing is.
Oh, I'm sorry, Paul.
Oh, I thought he was talking about me, but go ahead. I'll come back in a second.
No, because I was saying right before the show started that, you would think if that's a big rock in front of that's going to cover up the sun, that it should be seen before and after the solar eclipse. But for some reason, it's just not seen.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, these are my images of the eclipse. Using my P900. Most of these, like through here, are with a solar filter, and then like these couple here, but I took the filter off just to see what I could see. You can see a lens flare there, and I thought it was interesting too. Is even when most of the sun was almost completely gone, it still was shining very bright. Like even with this much of a sliver, the light was shining very brightly. And then as it began to go, there's one little dot, and then all of a sudden, boom, you had the actual eclipse. But even through all these shots, I think these images here was without a filter. This is just with my camera. So I took the filter off, and you could see there should be some level of earth shine, in here during the whole eclipse, but there was none. So, and of course, this is it as it's ending. But I just thought it was interesting because I've thought about that. Because if there's the Earth would give off more light than the moon. If the moon is a rock, the Earth would give off more light because there's a lot more water to reflect the light, but you don't see that. So, and I was looking for that when I was doing my pictures.
Can you make
These
some
are
of
all
them?
mine.
Can you make them full size? Can you make them bigger? I've just made the screen full size.
Okay, which one do you want me to do?
Any that you like, any that you're particularly fond of.
Okay.
There we go.
This is as it was starting to go full eclipse. Yeah. Yeah, I thought these were good. I kept taking shot after shot after shot, obviously. So this is, I think it's almost full totality here, right in that area. See, because of where I live, we had a little bit of. Go ahead.
So how is that aura maintained around the sun if it's supposed to be a rock going in front of that thing? I don't know. I don't get this thing at all.
So I did a Google why we can't see the moon during a solar eclipse, like the before and after. First result was Forbes. Forbes pretty much states that the Earth is most likely like a mirror, so it reflects a lot of the sunlight. But it doesn't make sense because we're seeing exactly.
Right, and I had
from-
somebody tell me the other day that's because usually solar eclipses are equated with around the time of the new moon, which also doesn't make sense because again, if it's this big rock, it should not disappear from the sight of everyone for 2 days or 3 days or however. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and within the same article, guess what they've got? They've got a composite. There's a composite of what the there's the moon. They made a composite.
Nice.
One of the things I thought was interesting, and this is why I've said this before, I know the typical explanation of this kind of magnetic looking, or these kind of rays coming out, I don't know if you can see my cursor, it might be hard to see, but the rays coming out, they're saying that's the magnetic field of the sun that's coming out, and it's going out, millions of miles supposedly. The funny thing is, if you look at some of the shots, you can't see it until it's full totality. And I thought, what if what you're seeing, they're assuming that's the sun, but what if you're seeing actually something that's magnetic, that's in front of the sun, that's blocking it? So the light, in a sense, is going through that magnetic field to illuminate it. So the other way around. Does that make you understand what I'm driving at? And I wondered if there could be some kind of magnetic void that's created that's going in front of the sun to cause it. But that's just a thought I had. I mean, obviously I have no proof of it, but it just seems a little, I don't know, just thinking at it outside the box and instead of not thinking mainstream, which we've all done before.
Shout out to Eagle Plane and Anchor for smashing the super chat. Thank you very much indeed for your repeated support. Really appreciate it.
I think the problem with supposing that there's some invisible object out there, like a third object, is that if there was, we would be able to see the moon somewhere else. But we don't see the moon somewhere else during these solar eclipses.
Right. Hey, Anon.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, that's the thing that. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's one of the things I think is interesting because you don't see it. There should be earth shine. It should be illuminated by the earth if it's there. You should see something, and you don't. And I don't know. Don't know. I got more questions than answers.
But it is exciting to have these questions, though.
What if it's like might sound silly, but what if it's like sun phases? Just like the moon has phases, like what if it's a sun phase of some sort that we're not aware of?
That's an interesting possibility. I do know someone was mentioning once that what if the moon has shutters of some sort? It's like blinking, and that's it. It just I like how people are creative with certain things. They're not saying it is, but let's just imagine. And it gets pretty interesting how people come up with different ideas.
Yeah, imagining is how we got here in the first place.
Well, as long as we keep it as more of like, I don't know, and it's just a thought and it's just a possibility instead of making it fact. I have no idea what's going on up there. I really don't, And I think that's the problem. We made intuition and hearsay facts, and we can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just speculation, just questions I have because I feel like if that's a big rock, we should just be able to see it before and after it obfuscates the sun, and we don't, and that makes no sense to me.
I totally agree with that.
Sorry, just to be pedantic, the word is occult. Occults the sun.
Occult.
Correct.
Nathan, can I just say something here, please?
Go ahead.
Darwinism. How old is Darwinism? 500 years, if that.
I honestly don't know.
How old is creation? How old is creation?
I don't
So
know.
didn't creation come before Darwinism? Or did Darwinism come before creation? Can anyone educate me on this?
When you say creation, do you mean their version of the Big Bang? Is that what you're asking?
Is this the diversion in your mind of creation?
I don't know. I am undecided.
Well, it's either a Big Bang or creation. So which one are you, Nathan? Creationist or evolutionist? Which one? There's only two. There's no more than two. It's
no, I appreciate the ontological
and a Big
primitives.
Bang. There's nothing. If you can explain to me more than evolution and creation, go ahead.
Sure, I understand the two ontological primitives.
Well,
However,
there's only two. You can't pick three. There's not another. If you want to pick aliens, pick aliens. But there's only creation and Darwinism and evolution and the Big Bang. Which one are you?
Also, simulation.
No, never mind simulation. Within reality, this is a world of real. You feel things, you touch things, you smell things, you got your five senses, okay? Don't be bringing aliens and all that bollocks into it. You've got creation or evolution. Pick one.
Why do we have to be limited?
It's not science or anything. It's evolution or creation. Pick one now.
Okay, hold on. If you pick creation,
if everything's ifs with you lot, everything is if this, if that, oh this, that. No, it's creation or evolution. There's only two, unless there's some clever dick in this Jesuit society wants to pick another one. Let them do it.
I
From
don't know
those
the
two
answer.
retarded choices, I'll choose evolution.
Okay, I mean, there is only those two choices, but I don't know which one it is. Everything from nothing seems highly unlikely, let's put it that way. If I had a gun to my head, I would say it would be created.
Then who created the creator?
That stumped a lot of you, didn't it?
Maybe evolution created the creator.
No, it brought you all back down to earth to think what your brains are meant to think. You got your left side of your brain and your right side of your brain. Start thinking. There's one or the other, creation or evolution. There's nothing else. No aliens, no spaceships, nothing else. It's creation, God, or evolution, the devil. Take your pick. Get used to it.
One of the super chatters, Eagle Playing Anchor, says he's got $5 on creation.
Said me piece and that's it. Thank you, Nathan.
What
side
if evolution in some mysterious way was
you're gonna expand evolution now, are you?
No, but hear me out.
Come on, Arvigen. It can only be one or the other. Don't start bringing other factors into this creation.
Stan from South Park brought it up as well during the evolution episode, which was freaking hilarious. Okay.
Yeah.
What if evolution was just part God's...
So we've got creation and we've got evolution. What else is there?
Sorry, can I just clarify that Arwin just cited, was it Cartman, did you say?
No. Stan from South Park.
So, just to be clear, and I think that's cleared it up, you did just cite Stan from South Park, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was a genius moment in that series.
Okie doke. Just wanted that
and
to
he
be
was
clear.
criticized the shit over it. So he had to wear the dunce cap.
We haven't had an answer from you, though.
I can't wait to hear.
AJ put the question on the table. What's your answer, AJ?
To which?
Well, the two ontological primitives. Everything from nothing or everything from a creation.
Everything from a creation. It's got to be. There's got to be a creator. Can't have nothing without a creator.
Does
Unless
the creator
science
just
can explain, unless science can explain that the Big Bang created everything, and we can't.
Agreed.
Because
creator?
the monkeys and the chimpanzees and the gorillas, they forget to evolve.
I don't necessarily hold this view, but there is creationists that hold evolutionary Big
All
Bang
I'm saying is
cosmology.
our history is just not our history. Simple. You can believe it if you want. It's up to you.
So is
And
the
that includes
creator
creation
just
and
one
evolution.
guy, or is it like a company and like people like have meeting? There's like a corporation that creates, or is it just one guy in the in a shed with tools? And, like, how does a creator create?
Right.
Yeah, and that,
Is the creator a company
Hey,
with
the next
people working at
question,
it, or
who created the creator? Now that's the next question you're going to ask, isn't it? Who
It's outside
created
of
the
creation.
creator?
It's outside of creation.
It's an
That's
infinite,
going to baffle
it's
you,
called
isn't
an
it?
infinite regress fallacy. So at some point you will get to an end point where you have to have a definitive creator. Who created the creator's creator, right? Well, that still ends up with a creator at the end of it. You can go back as long as you like. It's just
There you
one of the
go.
layers that AJ was talking about.
No,
If you
but
strap
if
on,
the creator is not a part of creation, then he is not created.
only two choices at the end of that road. Either the creator that created the creator's creator was created from nothing, or a creator created him. So it's an irrelevant fallacy to say, well,
Yeah,
who
but
created the
something,
creator's creator?
no,
Oh,
something
the big-
only needs
oh,
to
the
be
big-
created if it is created, and
Oh, the big.
he is outside of
Well,
creation.
who created the Big Bang then? If you're going with the Big Bang, who created the Big Bang? Was it
Right.
science and the gases and all this?
let me give you the official story. It's a multiverse that it touches another multiverse and it creates a universe.
It's
That's
a
what they say.
multiverse Big Bang engine, supposedly. Bang, bang.
They're like
You go
fabric,
up and
like
down like
fabric.
an engine.
I've got you thinking deep today, lads.
So one thing I'd like to ask is why do we attribute the creation of anything with just a singularity?
Look at nature. Look at nature.
Let me just. So, for example, artificial intelligence, we're creating it. If the artificial intelligence became conscious, what does the artificial intelligence state as the creator? Is it the microchip inside that's created by a company?
So what you're saying is your
CEO?
what you're
Depends on the parameters of
almost
what
done.
you're saying is
I'm
your
almost
flesh.
done.
What
I'm
you're
almost done.
saying is your flesh. and
I'm
your
almost
consciousness
done.
is
I'm almost
artificially
done. I don't know how much I have to
created.
repeat myself. Let me finish. So the artificial intelligence becomes
What-
conscious, attributes. Okay, has to find. Okay, who created me? Is it the microchip inside? Is it the company that created the microchip? Is it the CEO or the person who founded the corporation? Or is it the operating system? Is it the software? Is it the company of the software? There's
No.
multiple parts that the AI was created. So, who was the creator of the AI?
Of the AI, I would say personally, I would say it was Elohim who created man in their own image. Because Elohim in the Bible is plural. God is
AIs
singular.
have to be
Hang
programmed.
on, I haven't finished.
Oh, sorry, Agent.
Right? In the Bible, Elohim, which it says God, which isn't the Almighty God. God in the Bible is Elohim, the fallen ones, the fallen angels, and they said, "Let us make man in our vain image." Now, image means show in Hebrew. If you understand the Bible and a strong concordance and the words of Hebrew words, you'll understand how this world was created. Satan is the ruler. Lucifer is the ruler of this world. You've got to just get to grips with that. And things that are hidden will not be hidden no more. And the things that were hidden are starting to be shown now. Now, these Zionist clowns who think the Kabbalists they're just end of days fanatics. They will bring the end of the world, as it says in the Bible. All them words in Revelation will come true. 9/11, they had the king over them, Apollyon, the angel of the bottomless pit. Now, you think them two world towers were brought into the one world system when they built one tower to end the two world system? That two world system is in you. You are fighting daily inside your own body with a devil inside you constantly. Until you understand and you receive Jesus Christ and understand, you will burn with the rest of these devils who run your lives. So,
okay, just want to shout out a couple of super chats. So, Life is Short, Quantum Eraser, and then in quotes, Noah, and in quotes, which path is indication of creator influence for me, in brackets opinion, ... tree of life, chaos, entropy, etc. Keep up the good work. So thank you very much indeed to Life is Short for that. I would wholeheartedly agree with you. Knowledge of the which path means you need a knower. Needing a knower means a creator. So it's just as simple as that as far as I'm concerned. Colin Turner, also massive shout out for the super chat. Require a necessary existence of cause. Yeah, thank you very much indeed.
thank you, Nathan, for letting me come on, mate. Thank you.
No, it's been a pleasure. Don't disappear. Hopefully you'll stay.
No, yeah, I will stay, mate. Thank you.
Yvonne, I think the infinite regress fallacy would apply to your intelligence as well. There has to be an initial starting point, even with intelligence. Even if you have someone creating intelligence, there has to be an initial starting point of that intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
Knowledge. Also a knower, somebody to have knowledge. So that
Not a knower, it's existence.
Again?
Now I remember what question I wanted to answer.
You have to hold it because Flat and Earth got in before you. So can you repeat that, Flat and Earth? I didn't hear what you said.
It doesn't have to be a knower, it just has to be existence.
It has to say that one more time. It just has to be what?
Existence.
Okay, I'm wrapping my head around that now. So you're on the other side of the fence then. Okay, yeah. Now I've wrapped my head around it. So you think evolution then?
Yeah, but not a Big Bang.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, obviously, their just so story for the beginning of the beginning is not your just so story for the beginning of the beginning. Presumably, you haven't even got one, right?
Yeah, everything has just always been here.
Right. So I was going to jump in earlier.
Sorry, Travis. I'm really sorry.
Okay.
Otherwise, Arwen will lose his trail of thought. Can you hold that thought for a minute, Travis, just while Arwen gets his in?
Yeah, well, it's only a side point now. It's just somebody asked, what would an artificial intelligence see as its creator? Well, that depends on how big of an artificial intelligence it is, and it's definitely going to be programmed to interact with a person. So it's going to ask the person that's basically helping it grow up like a parent. And it depends on how their conception is of the answer, and then how the AI interprets that, if it takes it for granted.
Okay, so with a logical progression, you're on the opposite side to Flat and Earth. So you're obviously you're of the opinion there's a creator.
Can I ask who invented this AI, by the way?
Well, that's why I said the end point of that is that a creator. Just correct me if I'm wrong, Arwen. Then we'll move over to Travis.
But which creator invented this AI?
Well, a programmer will very likely say it is its creator.
Right, hang on a minute, Arjun. Now, is it the creator of this world or the almighty creator?
Creator of this world or the...
Who is the prince of this world? Who is the prince of this? Who runs this?
He's not the creator, he's the ruler. That's the dark.
He's the ruler of this earth.
From within.
And the spirits that you not see run the flesh of this world.
Sorry to cut the side note off. Travis is now sat with his mic open, which is causing feedback while he waits to actually get his point in.
You've got to understand, Arjun, we are flesh trapped Your
Okay,
consciousness
sorry.
is
That
trapped
wasn't
in
a hint to carry on
your
this side note.
consciousness
Sorry,
is trapped
Travis.
in human flesh, right?
Okay, fine. Yes,
Well,
we
I
get it.
wouldn't
Thank
call
you.
it trapped, but
Well, what would
we
you call it?
enthrone, our spirits enthrone this physical body. Yes, that's correct.
So you're born to die.
Well, the physical part of me, yes.
Well, you're born to die, aren't you?
Right.
Exactly.
Well,
Does your consciousness or something else carry on after life? Like the pharaohs thought he solved it, but he didn't.
well, I've had my own personal experiences relating to that, and I've wandered very deeply into it. And yeah, there's several different types of branches of thinking in how to approach that, and I can't really settle in any of it. But I
What
do
does
think
your
there
heart
are
tell you?
things that happen after death, and I've had
What does your
personal
heart tell you, Arvid?
empirical experiences.
Yeah, not your mind. What does your heart tell you?
Well, my heart tells me that after death, things still happen.
Right, and who put that thinking into your heart?
I experienced it spontaneously. Hadn't really, I had pondered upon the concept, but it appeared without me thinking about it.
Okay,
Right.
fair enough.
And my personal example in that is when my mother died.
Fair
Right.
enough.
Can I set my example? When my mother died, I saw I can only describe it as a ghost apparition. It was 3 o'clock at night. It was very dark, no lighting. I was sitting in a garden, and a ghost came up to me and approached me. And then my perception altered, and I kind of like she tapped into me.
You
And I
do
saw
know
my mother's face as she was really young. She didn't speak in words, but she communicated through feelings that I could clearly sense.
Yeah.
And I was astounded by the experience.
Yeah.
Walked over to sit. Then my brother came over and told me he had just had a phone call that my mother had died.
And you just mentioned it was 3 o'clock at night, yeah? 3 o'clock, midnight, after midnight, yeah?
Right. I was up very late.
Now, you do know 3 o'clock after midnight is the witching hour, don't you?
Is it?
When spirits come out to play and put things in your head and things that you think about.
Right. That's all really nice. That's really, really great. But I can recognize the presence of another that I'm very intimately known with, like my mother.
The flat Earth debate?
I've lost many family members. Many family members.
Yeah, well, I've had a very personal spiritual bond with my mother that's kind of unique. So it happened. I didn't know she had died, and I saw her, and then I learned about it. So that's my experience. And that gives me an indication that at least after death, there is something else.
There is some. Yeah,
it doesn't just end.
There is something else.
That's like the empirical proof that I have of it, because you can conceptualize all over the place. But this is an empirical lead.
But what it is, the pharaohs thought there was something better after death, what they wanted after death. But that isn't what they will get after death. You've got to follow the way to get the after death, the afterlife. People haven't got a clue.
Thank you for the advice. I preach the same on my channel. You don't need to tell.
I know that, Origin, but we were showing the way.
Is there a single way, or are there multiple ways? Is this Taoist philosophy?
No, now you're getting, now you're splitting hairs now. There's only one way. We were showing the way 2,000 years ago. Now, whether you believe it or not, that's up to you. I'm not going to push it on you, but I'm just saying.
So before 2,000 years ago, what was the way?
And the Old Testament sort of goes hand in hand. So forget about evolution and Darwinism and all them clowns, the Jesuit Zionist fools. You know, Hollywood and everything, you're all just programming you to death. Until you wake up to what's going on, all the hoaxes, everything, it's just we're in just one big movie set. Until you understand what's going on and just take yourself out from the forest, set yourself as a little tree away from the forest, then you'll be able to see what the forest is growing. Okay, so until then, educate yourselves.
So before 2,000 years ago, when we were shown the way, what was the way?
What was the way? So you haven't read scriptures?
I have read
Isaiah,
scriptures.
Jeremiah, Job. You haven't read
I
any
have
of them?
read scriptures. You're
Yeah.
saying that we were shown the way 2,000 years ago. I'm asking you, what was the way before the 2,000 years ago where we were shown the way?
So, okay, so do you believe in Jesus Christ?
I don't believe.
You don't believe in Jesus Christ and the way?
I follow Jesus' teachings. I find merit in it.
And oh, you only find merit. Well, do you know what? I'm talking to a devil if I'm talking to somebody like you talking to me back like
If
that.
you would want to call me a devil, that's fine.
Well, I
Now,
will
please
you
continue
devil
with
because
I would like to know the way. Isn't one of Jesus' teachings is to have me find my way? So are you going to deny me your teaching path to that way? So I would like to know your way. If you are a follower of Jesus,
love,
please
repentance,
show me the way.
The way Jesus taught us: love, repentance, and forgiveness.
So what was it before Jesus?
And
What
plus
was the way?
plus the Ten Commandments. The covenant, the first covenant that God Almighty gave us, right? And then the second covenant that Jesus gave us for love, forgiveness, and repentance. Okay, there's only two covenants. The first you never defile, and the second you try to do the best you can. End of story. Don't mix it up, mate. You're mixing it up like Darwinism and evolution and all this rubbish.
So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about creation versus evolution. That's what we were
Why
discussing.
do you keep putting words in my mouth, AJ?
I'm not putting any words in your mouth. I don't speak for you. You're the one who's speaking.
You have been speaking
So how
for
can
me.
I put? How can I must be a devil if I'm putting words into your mouth?
Okay, can I jump in real quick? AJ, AJ,
Words into your mouth. So don't say that
AJ,
words back to me. I'm putting words into your mouth. Only the devil puts
AJ,
words into your mouth. Okay. So have some respect. Okay.
Come on.
AJ.
You're not showing
I'm
me
gonna-
respect. That's why I'm not showing
Come
you.
on.
Hold
Stop.
on,
Stop
Ivan,
bickering.
Ivan.
Please.
Hold on.
Please stop
Okay.
bickering.
Come
both
on.
of you.
Can I hear what
AJ, stop
Travis?
talking.
Travis.
I've got no
AJ, hold
hate
on.
for
Can you
nobody.
stop talking,
I
please?
support-
Hello. All right, Travis,
Yeah,
go
sorry,
ahead.
sorry, Nathan. Go on, mate.
Travis, go
AJ's a
ahead.
drunk.
No, drunk. Now you're casting stones.
Oh
saying I'm
God,
drunk.
please, can we have some
Don't
control,
lad.
please,
Casting stones, saying I'm a drunk.
please,
Behave yourself.
please. I'm trying to let Travis have the mic. He's been waiting
Sorry,
for about
mate.
10 minutes.
What idiots call me fucking name.
Oh God. Travis,
Sorry,
go
mate.
ahead.
Right, Travis. Go.
Well, now there's like 10 other things that I want to talk about, but the thing that I would like to say, I think Ebon's right. I think
AJ, can you just
think that,
pop yourself on? Sorry, hold on, Travis. Can you just pop yourself on mute, AJ, when you're not talking? We can just hear you muttering.
I'll do
okay.
it.
So just the most recent comment that Ebon made about AJ, and that is AJ. Just let me say what I'm going to say, and then you can respond. You said not to conflate, not to mix the two covenants. That is, in a sense, putting words into Ebon's mouth because he didn't say that, but that's what you brought up as a point of direction to.
I never said mixed. Actually, you are. See what he's just done.
No, okay, AJ, I wasn't even finished, and you're interrupting me.
Mixed, and I never mentioned that word.
Okay, AJ, what did you say about the two covenants? You mentioned the
I
first
said,
one and the second one.
covenant you abide by, and the second covenant you do the best you can, as Jesus taught us: forgiveness, love, and repentance. The main one is repent. Okay.
Yeah. Listen.
So I never said mixed. You're the one who's mixing mighty clay.
All right.
Okay, not me.
Oh, okay. Once you made the differentiation between the first covenant and the second covenant, you followed it up with an imperative, and you said, "Don't ... Can you remember what you said after you said "don't"?
Come on. Jog my memory.
Don't what?
Jog my memory.
Yeah, I was trying to in general by saying that I believe you said don't confuse the two or don't mix the two.
Okay. All I can say is, why are we arguing about the Lord Jesus Christ? Why are you coming at me?
Because you brought it up, bro. You're the one that brought this up, man.
I believe
right.
in Jesus Christ. That he
Okay,
was,
I'm going to go back to what I was going to say
hang on,
before.
hang on. I believe in Jesus Christ. He was God in the flesh, who died for our sins and rose 3 days later.
To Matthew Lemons for the super chat. Says, hoping to hear from Sleeping Warrior, being an Oakley fan since the Mick West debacle.
No.
What's in your heart? Do you believe that Jesus Christ was the God Almighty in the flesh, in the flesh?
I do not.
Or are you going with the Elohim? Are you one of Elohim's childs, or you are one of El's childs? Which one are you?
Yeah. I'm not having this discussion with you, but going back to
now, I know who I'm talking to.
Yeah, now you do. You know me.
I know exactly who I'm talking to. If you are not in El, Michael, stop.
Gabriel, Michael, yeah.
And they all end in L.
I want to hear what Travis has to say.
End in L.
Ezekiel,
Almighty God, not Elohim.
AJ, please let Travis.
The ones who made all of us in their vain image.
I don't think AJ's going to let anyone talk. He's rumpusing.
Yeah, AJ, I'm here rumpusing. So
closed system. Until you understand what's inside your body, you will never understand the Lord Jesus Christ. Okay.
All right. So going back to what we were talking about with evolution and creation and the two systems. So we end up coming back to the same basic principle because you have infinite regress in both systems, and that was mentioned earlier. But the point of contrast that I wanted to make with a creation approach is that you have a personal, knowable creator that is eternal and all powerful. Okay, just in general. He's all powerful because he created everything. He's eternal because he supersedes and precedes everything. And then in the creation aspect is we all, I suppose, if we are comfortable with talking about a creator, we talk in a way that we say we can know something about that creator in order to have a relationship of love. Okay. Now, when you cross back over to the evolution, you've got the same principles, but they are depersonalized. You have an eternal system, you have an all-powerful system, but the contrast is it's not personal, it's not knowable. You can't have a relationship with it, but you still, in the end, come back to the same point of infinite regress. So you don't solve that problem in either system. And I think that was helpful for me to understand when I was considering those 2 points of view. And then I suppose the one aspect of determination is which one makes the best sense of our reality. I'm done.
Ask the government which makes sense of your reality. Ask Hollywood which makes sense of your reality. Ask TV series and all what you see on the news what makes your sense of reality real. Okay.
All right. Well, what about that Mohammed guy? Is he legit? You seem to know.
Are you starting to wake up? Yes.
So AJ, you've done a lot of studying of history. I take it, especially with biblical stories and mythology.
No, I do study that, but I study people and chat actually. I study. I've been in a lot of chat rooms. I make a lot of wild, not accusations, but I make a lot of wild comments about
Declarations.
things that's going on in the world, and I never ever get attacked by anybody in any chats. I go in the numerous chats and I say sort of how it is and what it is, and I never get attacked. Why is that?
I'm gonna go with
Because
Jesus.
No, maybe. But all I'm saying is I go on a lot of chats, I say what I've got to say, and I never get attacked. That's all I'm saying. And a lot of people who are watching can back that up and say, yeah, AJ never.
shut up, AJ. Shut up.
Okay, let's bring it up. That's all I'm saying, lads. So
Let's go back to the
you
eclipse.
either wake up now, or you get prepping, or you just get your heads chopped off and just. I hope you've made your peace simple.
Sorry, I heard the
Because
word eclipse.
if you think these Zionists and the game that they're playing is or make believe, it's not. It's for real. And I'm telling you that now, everybody in the chat. What's going on in the world? Chemtrails, poisons, everything. Everything is for real. It's not make believe. The way they make it make believe, it's for real. So things, what are happening, the season is upon us. The signs are there. Nobody knows the hours of the day, but it's coming. When? The season's here. That's all I'm saying. So
Cool.
Did I hear someone mention the eclipse again?
Yes. When I first joined, when I heard you on YouTube, you guys were talking about eclipses. I was watching images by, I think it was Paul. Can we go back to that? Do we still know where the moon is for those 3 days?
No idea.
So, and I heard someone say that eclipse, the solar eclipse happens every time it happens. It's during a new moon. Is that true?
Well,
I
it would
think
have
that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a new moon.
So we don't see the moon when it goes in front of the sun, right? We just all of a sudden the sun is.
Let's be specific. What you're saying is, in the heliocentric reified model world, the moon is alleged to be closer to us than the sun, and during the new moon stage, we do not get to see the moon in that model, even though it's in front of the sun. Am I right so far in your assertion?
I'm not asserting. I'm just asking because I don't remember. When the recent eclipse happened, unfortunately, I was not a true quote unquote true believer of the non globe of the flat Earth. So I didn't. If I knew and I knew about this, I would have tried to see try to have my camera on the moon or on the sun before the actual eclipse and see if you see anything. But I didn't know that, and I didn't know that solar eclipse happens during the new moon, which conveniently you don't see the moon going in front of the sun. You just see nothing, and then there's the sun blocked. I didn't know that. I'm just asking, is that the case?
Yes, that's absolutely the case. The bit I was
Yeah,
trying to tie
when I
down.
was
That's what I was complaining about before. I say, if the moon is just a big rock, it should be seen. I don't really care what phase it's in. It should be seen if it's going to block out the sun, and then even afterwards, like how is it not seen at all? And that the last eclipse, I was looking.
I think it makes sense in their model because they're saying that the side of the moon that's lit up is lit up by the sun, and that means the quote unquote the dark side, which we never get to see, is actually illuminated. That's why we don't see it, and you just see the blue. You just see the blue, kind of like when you see the moon during the day and half of it is completely blue. It looks like see through. So if all of it is like that see through thing, you wouldn't see it. I think that's what
Right.
they're.
But our point is that when you have such a massive solid object in such close proximity to the sun, either directly in front of it or adjacent to it, there should be what we would consider, we should then see a dark side of the moon in shadow. With such a large light source behind it, we should see the dark side of the moon, which typically for us, like you said, would be the inverse. It would be the normally lighted side would be our dark side, but we don't see that, and that's our conundrum.
Well, no, because it's kind of like putting a quarter in front of a light bulb. You're not going to see the actual quarter. You just
Okay.
There's another problem.
But for me, here's the other thing. I'm sorry, Paul, but real quick, like the thing for me was that day of the solar eclipse in 2017. I was looking for the moon. Now, I don't have a P900. I don't have a fancy camera or anything, but I could see where the sun was. I could see where the moon was supposed to be if it was a big rock that was about to, block out the sun. But the moon was nowhere in the sky. Now, for me,
I think I get it.
I mean, again, even if it's a new moon, that's a problem for me. You know what I mean? Because it's a big rock. So where is it? How has it disappeared? And then all of a sudden we see it block out the sun and then move away from the sun, but then we don't see it again? Nowhere to be found?
I think
makes no sense.
It kind of makes sense to me because, like I said, the sun is lighting up the side that we don't see at all. It's the 180 degrees exact opposite of it. So we just see a blue thing, just like how it is. That's what I think they're saying. But you don't see it.
It sounds to me like I would insert my great scale negator comment here, and that is that you're saying that when you put a quarter in front of a light, the light swallows up and envelops the entire quarter so that you can't see it. But that, again, I think goes back into the issue of scale and distance. So everything else about our world is scaled out perfectly so that the sun is 400 times farther away and 400 times larger.
I think the Bank of International Settlement
AJ, can you,
in the world as it is.
Really?
Yes,
really?
Bank of International Settlement sorts everything out in the world. Because that's how we're run, by the Bank of International Settlements. And the World Bank and the Zionist bankers, they run your programming. They run how you think.
Why are you
AJ, how does that? AJ, how does that?
Why are you interrupting the conversation?
Let him speak. Come on.
Dude, Lucas talking.
Really? Yeah, right. Yeah, let him speak. Okay, AJ, I was trying to make a point. So going back to the fact that our system is scaled out so precisely.
Yes, it is scaled out precisely by the International Bankers and its bankers. What? Everything is scaled out precisely and monetary. Everything. The way you think, the way you program with your iPhone, everything is scaled out per proportion the way the devils have engineered it. Don't you understand that?
AJ, do you have a local AJ?
You're thinking. Don't you understand?
AJ,
how old are you?
Go find your local pub and talk to people there who.
Pub. Now you're disrespecting me. No.
No, man. You're completely.
Now you're casting stones.
No.
No, you are.
No, I'm saying go find a public forum where people are going to sit there and nod their heads at you while you just continue to drone on and on and on, and no one's listening to you, AJ.
Sorry, go on.
Really?
AJ, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about. AJ, this is nothing to what what you're saying has nothing to do with what we're talking about. So you can just listen if you wish, or comment on the topic.
Got everything what you're talking about. Everything what I'm saying has got everything to do what you're talking about. Don't you understand that?
We understand.
So how did the Bank of International Settlement?
The way you were brought up in school. Don't you understand the way you were brought up in school? The way you're thinking.
This is crazy. This is an Irish rumpus.
Hang on. Why is it crazy?
Because you're an Irish rumpus, man.
AJ, I love you, bro, but we're talking about the solar eclipse. We're talking about the moon and the solar eclipse. We're not really talking
Yeah.
about
But they
financial
happen.
systems, brother.
They happen. Why do you have to define what happens in the sky? They just happen. It'll always happen. What
Right,
you
but
start
We
thinking
know.
about is what's happening
We know,
around
but you're
your
kind of
bodies,
disrupting the
what's
conversation.
happening around yourselves, what's happening around the world. The sky will carry on as it does. So don't worry about the sky. God's that.
We want to worry about the sky.
So
We like the sky.
you
We
worry
like to talk
about
about the sky.
what's
I don't
going
want to talk
on
about
on the
Jesus. I
ground.
don't.
You worry about
I
what's going on the ground and around you.
no.
Come on,
I don't.
Abraham. You had
Going on
your
around you.
15 minutes. We talked about your stuff. Now we were in
What
the middle of
stuff?
a conversation. Can
Hang
you
on,
please
hang
stop
on.
disrupting it, please?
What stuff is my stuff, Origin?
I'm not called Arwidgen. Called Arwid.
What the hell's an origin?
It's Arwin. What stuff
Right.
is alright, Arwin? What stuff is my stuff?
Well, your biblical angle to things and your very strong Christian convictions.
Biblical.
Yes.
It's not being
Brilliantly put.
I have no problem with that, even though you seem to be a bit extreme to my taste. But
extreme.
yeah, but that's just to my taste. But
Extreme.
I have no problem with that. But you're also kind
So
of
you're saying
disrupting the conversation
extreme,
because Travis
you're
was in the
saying
middle of something.
extreme, but you've got no problem with that. So why are you saying extreme? If you've got no problem with it, why are you saying extreme?
AJ, I'll comment on this. I'm a Christian. AJ, listen for a second.
You've got no.
AJ,
that sounds a bit.
AJ, stop rumpusing for just a second. I'm a Christian on this panel, and so is Travis. Okay, and this whole discussion here is about trying to unravel what we have been taught, and we can just part of this process is discussing things.
You'll never.
I've talked about the Christian topic. Hang on. I'm gonna mute you if you don't stop for a second.
You'll never unravel.
AJ, common
AJ,
decency, dude.
You're not letting
common
him.
decency. Stop
You're not letting him get to
interrupting
the end of his statement, though. Just.
You will never unravel flat earth.
Now you're ignoring me, AJ. AJ, you're now completely ignoring me. So I've just said you didn't let.
I know. I apologise. Sorry, Nathan.
Yeah, I need you to stop. Every time you talk, you cut the mic.
Sorry.
So, yeah, you don't need to apologise. You just need to stop talking. Thank you. So, Paul, go ahead. Shout out to James Mays for the super chat. Really appreciate your support.
AJ, I mean, I'm a Christian, and they know, everybody on this panel knows it. I've had discussions with Ebon, Erwin, I mean, Chocolate, Travis, everybody. They know where I stand. You know, and I don't have to, I don't want to sit here and make this discussion isn't about my Christianity or yours. Now, you may have validity in your truth. There may be some truth to that. But the part of this debate is trying to unravel what we have been taught. And if you derail the conversation into some other area, you know, I mean, I'd love to talk about a lot of topics in the Bible, but I don't unless it goes there. And I think just let it go. You just completely I'm not done. Jay, I'm not done. Okay, I'm not done. You completely derailed the conversation. We were talking about the eclipse, pictures that I've taken, and you completely derailed the conversation. And I'm not saying what you're saying is untrue. I'm just saying is you derailed the conversation. Engage in the conversation. I think you'll get more of a hearing than just blowing past people and not listening. I mean, I think I've had some good conversations on this channel with people because I try to listen. You know, that's the scripture talks about that. Be quick to listen and slow to speak. You're being quick to speak and slow to listen. So, you know, if you're going to abide by the scripture, you need to apply it to yourself and start with just listening.
Okay.
I've got some comments on the eclipse if we want to continue.
Okay. Unravel what you've been taught then.
Okay, back to the eclipse. who left off where? I have a comment about it.
I think Travis was talking about the numbers and
Travis just
the 400
jumped off. He might return. Might be a mobile disconnect.
Well, let me bring up my issue with the moon. I've got it shared on my screen. I'm gonna bring it out. It's called Earthshine. Are you familiar with this?
Oh yeah.
Can you see my screen? And this is one of the problems I had when I was watching for it. So even in this picture here, even though the sun is still up and the sky is still somewhat lit, you can still see the moon. You know, and actually, if the moon is facing the one side is always facing, the dark side would be lit up. But even during an eclipse, there's enough light coming from the Earth because of the reflective value of the Earth, the amount of sunlight that's or reflective light coming off the Earth. It should be seen on the moon. But in none of my pictures that I take, I could see this. None. No. And I know there's that one person that said they caught it, but nobody else has caught it. So that's one of the problems I see with the heliocentric understanding of the eclipse. Because you should still see the moon. So
Exactly.
Yes.
Let me
It looked
bring
like there's
one
two
thing into
discs
this.
right there, right? You think it would look like. Sorry.
Sorry, go on and on.
No worries. I just wanted to point this out. So we have asymmetric orbits between, you know, because it's not perfect circles, right? They're ellipses. So you have between the two kind of eclipses that we have, the lunar and the solar. They're caused by our motion. They're on their model. So you have the motion of Earth spinning around itself, and you have the motion of the moon going around it, and then us going around the sun. None of these are perfectly symmetrical. They are ellipses. They're kind of like random in a way, right? But then what happens is, like using the Saros cycle, every 18 years, all of the eclipses reset exactly. So how do you have that when you have all these asymmetric movements and then suddenly it resets again every 18 years? It should, so they don't have to predict. And you know, that's another thing that with NASA is like, oh, we're predict this heliocentric model predicts all this. They
Sorry,
don't,
Anon.
because
Sorry, you brush past the most important bit, so they shouldn't. Just stress that a little bit more, because that's the main point, right? You've said it quickly.
say that again.
I was going to jump in and say that too. Like they shouldn't, because of all the movements that we're supposedly doing. How is that possible?
No, I was gonna bring that back. I was saying, well, it shouldn't be exactly like resetting like a clock, because you have all these asymmetrical movements, and you would have to predict these things like hundreds of years out, and then it would be like a number of pi, like it would be an irrational kind of number. It would be a number that it wouldn't reset. So every 100 years, they would have to sit there and calculate, like, all right, we're going around this, and this is going around that. All right. So the next one's going to come this time, and then that time. Sometimes they'll get closer to each other. Sometimes they'll get further away from each other. But it wouldn't be, they would have to calculate and predict these out hundreds of years. But NASA to this day uses the Saros cycle to predict the eclipses. And the Saros cycle was created 3,500 or 3,000 years before the Jesus character roamed around. So we are further away from Jesus than Jesus was away from the creation or the discovery of the Saros cycle that they use to this day to calculate this. So they're not using the Kepler model. They're not using the Copernican. No. They're using the Saros cycle, the repeatable 18 years. I forget how many exactly what it is, but that's what they're using. So this should not repeat. They would have to sit there and calculate it, you know, for years on in advance, and then they would be like, all right, let's do it for 100 years and then wait. 100 years will go by. All right, let's calculate for another 100 years. But to have it repeat asymmetrically all the time, it just doesn't make sense to me.
To Vlad on Flat Earth, he says, keep ball crushing, Nathan. Just a quick plug, we will have a Ball Busters on Saturday. We'll be covering Lite and the double slit experiment, and undoubtedly we'll cover the ontological primitives and various other things, the Noah creation. Maybe we even cover those things as well. So Ball Busters will be on Saturday. One of the person smashed the super chat asking exactly that, so I might as well plug it. Sorry, I know, Paul, you came off mute. Did you want to add something to that? Not my plug, but the conversation.
Oh, that's okay. There's another thing that Aon was saying. I think there's also a valid point if NASA's calculations are correct. It's the three-body problem. Have you guys heard of that? when you're trying to calculate
No.
with using formulas. Basically, you can't mathematically. You can usually calculate with formulas a two-body problem, like how they rotate and how they interact with each other. But as soon as you throw a third body in there, there's no mathematical equation that you can use to kind of account for all the potential movements. And obviously, when you start throwing in, now you got 9 planets with moons and everything else. I mean, how many bodies that you got to account for and trying to calculate, where an object will be if there's all these factors involved. I'll drop this link into the side chat, but I think it goes along with what you're saying. If the heliocentric
Is that the Google
model
chat?
is true, yeah, the side chat and the group chat. No, not the. Yeah, I guess it's the Hangout chat. I can drop it in the main on the. I'll drop it in the
Google Hangout chat will be great.
I just dropped it. It should pop up there.
To add to your
Go
part,
ahead.
Anon, what's interesting is the Mayan culture. Again, thousands of years ago, they wrote a codex, and there's a couple. They're Mayan experts, the Brickers. They predicted in 1983 the next solar eclipse that would happen in like South America or Central America, be like on July 11th, 1991, and they got it right because they're just interpreting just how the Maya calculated solar eclipses. I mean, this is just centuries ago, and they're able to predict solar eclipses. And the Mayans believed that the Earth was flat, and they didn't know that the moon was that the sun is both 400 times larger than the moon and 400 times further away. I mean, how does that happen?
Yeah, it makes you wonder how much. I think the ancients, we always miscontribute the ancients that they're stupid and primitive and hay farmers and grain whatever that you want to call it, pig farmers, sheep farmers, or whatever, sheep herders. But I mean, if they could be able to calculate and do this thing, they had to make observations over long periods of time to be able to understand that. And I think they had a lot better understanding of things than we give them huge credit for. So I don't care which culture it is, whether it's Mayan, Egyptian, Greek, whatever. I think they knew a lot more than we give them credit for.
True.
Saying to the chat, I've really enjoyed this conversation as much as there's been a bit of rumpusing and a bit of back and forth. It's been a fascinating conversation for me to sit and listen to. So on the basis of that, I was like, do you guys in the chat want me to keep the live show going a bit longer? Because this is really interesting. I'm saying that because there might be a natural progressed end that's just been reached. We'll soon see, right?
Well, I'd like to make I'd like to make a comment on the original question that AJ posted, since I didn't really get a chance to. Even as a creation, there's a lot of creationists out there that still believe in a Big Bang and evolutionary theory. And I'm not saying that I hold to that perspective, but it does exist. And also, I'd like to address something if he said, or Flat Earther said, or just actually ask the question: how can chemicals in your brain account for thought and knowledge? That's a question. If he's listening, I'd like to see him answer.
Who are these creationists who believe in the Big Bang, by the way?
I'd have to do some research.
I could tell you a few names: Kim Holland, and all the pastors, all the Zionist pastors who tell you about creation, but yet they've got a globe ball in front of them. They'll say evolution is a scam, but yet they'll have a globe in front of them saying, well, yeah, you know what I mean. They're taking the piss, mate. No, all these pastors, all these Zionist pastors, it's all a big game to them. They preach the word of God, and they don't even know God, and yet they believe in NASA and all that. And you haven't got a clue about the pastors that are preaching the devil's tongue. Ah, God, you need to go to bed and wake up without a hangover, mate.
Well, I would say, like, as far as like the chemicals and synapses and all that, I think that stuff allows us to access the thoughts as opposed to creating them themselves.
No. You access your own thoughts, not the thoughts of TV.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, I think
no. You access your own thoughts, what's in your mind, in your brain, that comes from your heart. What you know is true, what you know is right. Everything else.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
But if you don't disagree with that, what are you disagreeing with?
He wasn't. This is the thing. This is what I said before. You got to listen.
Do you disagree with NASA? Do you disagree with NASA?
Of course I do. Most everybody on this panel
Do you disagree with the Big Bang?
Me, myself, personally, yes.
Right. So we've got two out the way. Now I'm going to go for the third pitch here now. So
okay, you're not listening to what? You're not listening. You're just trying to. AJ, you're just trying to push something. You didn't even listen to what I was saying. You didn't listen to what Chocolate was saying. You didn't listen to what Chocolate was saying.
No, don't be putting words into my mouth. I'm not pushing anything. They're the ones who push. I push back from what I see.
But you came into this panel. I came into this panel
with a bit of wisdom, but you can't see and you haven't got the ears to hear. So that's all I'm saying.
You assume something that you don't know. You don't know me. You don't know me. I don't know you. So you can't give me thoughts and say how I think.
You know what? I still love you, mate. I've got no hate towards you and nothing. That's what I can say. I've got no hate. I still love you. Okay. That's all I'm saying. What can you say? What can you
I know. That's fine.
You say
that's fine. But that's fine. All I'm saying is I said a minute ago that you are quick to speak and slow to listen. And the scripture says to be quick to listen and slow to speak. If you'd have listened to what Chocolate was saying, he was agreeing with you. But you didn't listen. You just assumed that you would assume that.
I'm going to go with Chocolate. Don't be bringing Chocolate up into me and you. I know Chocolate, sort of, through chat, so I'm not going to disagree or have a go at Chocolate. So leave Chocolate out of this talk that me and you are talking about. You said you're mentioning Chocolate. Why are you bringing Chocolate into me and you?
Because it has started. What brought me into this conversation is how you
were having a good time.
I know.
Why did you bring AJ in again? Why did you bring AJ in?
If Chocolate was the one you into the conversation, why bring Chocolate back into the conversation that you want to join into? Can't you join in the conversation yourself without using Chocolate?
All right, let's use vanilla.
Hey, I don't think anybody on this panel believes in the Big Bang.
I will educate you. I'm telling you.
About what?
You gotta
about
anything about the conversation
life, about what this world truly is. Okay, Origin. You make the one your spirit.
Origin.
What? Go on, sorry, Origin.
Excuse me. It's Arwin.
Arwin.
Yeah.
I thought it was Harwain. Harwain.
No, don't pronounce it like that, please.
I'm sorry, I'm not Dutch and can't pronounce it properly, Origin. Okay, is that okay?
Say it in your native tongue, because what's his name? Apollo said it correctly, and I thought he said Harwain.
No.
Say it then.
Okay, Arwijn.
Arwijn.
Is it a Dutch name?
Yeah, just don't be silly.
That's babble for you. No, so you don't understand.
Is it Dutch?
Languages.
Yes,
That's
it is.
done in the Tower of Babel. You confused everybody to understand each other's languages. As you've just.
Well, I apologize for having different language.
Hold on. On your guest. Hold on, AJ. Hold on, AJ. I do need to control the show still. Hi, David. How you doing? Hello, David. David, you're on mute.
Still love you, lad, would you, mate?
Hey, who's the fake Slick over here? Who's got a picture of Slick, but it's Brian?
No, it's Slick.
Huh?
That's Slick.
We were all kicked earlier, so we came in on
Don't.
secondary accounts.
During the first show, we had Brenda on, and rather than concede that she couldn't measure the radius of Earth, she rumpused the hell out of the panel, then kicked everyone.
Yeah.
I really made her mad when I told her boyfriend was imaginary.
Don't know anything about her boyfriend, but I think I'll use that as an opportunity to round out as my Sprog's joined us, and it will undoubtedly get very noisy very quickly. So with that, I will say, if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley channel, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching in the Nathan Oakley 1980 live stream, this is where we bid you farewell. A massive thank you for smashing the super chat, all of you who did so. If you need something to keep you occupied after this live stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Was like,
Talking about her boyfriend, so are you sure it? Do you have any confirmation of her?
no. I was just saying it's imaginary, like your boyfriend, because she kept saying just because she saw a picture of it, it's real, and it was like the chair. Nathan's like, is this chair? Oh, it was experienced. Did you experience it?
Maybe he or she was angry because he or she actually likes girls.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I was hoping I would get it wrong to piss her off.
Can we stop this? Who cares? This is just ad hominem against Brenda. I just don't like it. Who cares? Seriously.
All right.
Is it?
Yeah. It's attacking her as a person. It's not attacking her argument. We got close to it. Anon was, making an equivalence with the chair. That's fine. But when you're just attacking a person...
Are you sure? You keep addressing her as her. Are you sure?
She has said she wants to be called her. That's fine by me.
Okay. I didn't know she did that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
She does. She wants to be addressed as her. That's fine.
All right.
I don't care what she wants to be addressed as. Unless it's farcical. If she asks me to address her as a chicken, then obviously that's ridiculous.
May I be addressed as Master and Commander of the world?
No.
Go ahead.
Damn it. That's my pronoun, by the way.
My pronoun is my lord. You gotta call me my lord.
You want to be called my lord? I don't mind calling you my lord.
No, hey, so
What if I call you my lady?
On a serious note, in the U.S. they're doing all this protected group. Like if you're a group, if you're a minority, and if they look at you funny, you there are laws against being against you or whatever. So can we say flat earthers are minority?
Let's go the Noahide laws, mate, that are coming in.
The what laws?
Yeah.
Noahide laws. No, you're saying about this hate speech and hate.
Yeah.
Well,
each country has their own little.
Laws will come in soon, maybe this year or maybe next year. They will come in. The Philippines and all the South Asia, they are all the Mossad. The Zionists have infiltrated many countries in the world, and then Noahide laws will come in.
So what are they? This is the
Noahide. You got to really go into it, Nathan, with the Noahide laws. It's really Jewish Kabbalah. You can't have a go at Judaism. At the Jews, you can't say anything. It goes really deep, Nathan. When you look into it, Nathan, it's really deep, mate.
Well,
but them laws will come in, mate. Sorry,
I'm interested on account of the fact that these laws in regards to things like hate speech ultimately are the people who are fighting for them don't appreciate that they're fighting for their own oppression, because they're saying those people shouldn't be allowed to say X, Y, and Z. And if they manage to enforce that, that can ultimately be used to shut them up. And the fact that they don't appreciate this is, to me...
Yeah, exactly, Nathan. It's like the Hegelian dialect is, you got this group over there who's saying to that group over there, you can't say this, and then it's all designed. I could go really deep into it, Nathan, but I don't want to.
No. It's fascinating. It does sound precisely like that. It's like what they're doing with the Hegelian dialectic is assuring in our own servitude, our own enslavement, and getting us to actually cry out for it. Now, not us, the us on this panel, but whoever the one shouting the loudest for oppression is, and that's what they're asking for when they're saying no, we shouldn't be, you shouldn't be allowed to discriminate against us for this, that, and the other reason, or you can't make jokes about us as a group. It's like, well, you're just basically trying to do away with free speech. That's what you're essentially asking for by saying you can't persecute my group. Well, what happens a week down the line if they say, no, that's correct, you're not allowed to say that about your group, but your group is not allowed to say, and so it goes on. It's just a way of censoring people and shutting them up.
That's exactly what it is, Nathan. All done by design. I mean, you can go back hundreds of years, and you could study history, the way it's gone about speech, and it's madness. The world's gone mad, and it's going even madder every day. So that's all I can say, Nathan.
It's rules themselves.
Oh,
you're ridiculous.
Broke up. Say that again, Chocolate.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're okay now.
Said it's literally like getting people to police themselves.
Well, not even police themselves. That would be okay. It's more they're pushing for our rulers to have the control over what is said. Now, from their perspective, as they're asking for it, it's because it's directly against them, and they're asking for the censorship of what's said against them, not realising that as an overall rule will be good for the gander. What's good for the goose? You know what I mean? So it just seems stupid when you see feminists campaigning for the silencing of a particular group that's against their rhetoric, because it just, like I say, it'll just get turned around against them very quickly, and everyone else.
Nathan. Exactly, mate.
Comes like trolling on a large scale.
To be honest, we've been studied for hundreds of years, and these elites know the way we're going to react. They've been studying us, so
Exactly, they're sat back laughing. They're sat back laughing while we...
Away from the forest. Set yourself away from the forest and you see the trees more easily.
Absolutely. The quickest way to do that is to get rid of TV. So all the mainstream media in general poisons you into your own servitude. And in this instance, they've been corralled. These groups of people have been corralled into begging for their own censorship. And you're like, the people who are in charge of the dialectic, the Hegelian dialectic, as you put it, are the ones that are sat back laughing at this happening and going, keep encouraging us. Hopefully you'll vote it in. You know what I mean?
Exactly, Nathan, you're right. Exactly. Most probably they're all sitting in rooms watching all us laughing their heads off. Getting all the shekels, going to the bank,
Well, they're conditioning us like dogs.
Of course they are. Exactly. Of course they are. But as I say, what you got to do is, as Nathan says, you got to set yourself away from it and understand what's going on, but try and be a part of what's going on to help what's going on, but still be away from the forest. Set yourself away from the forest. Do what you've got to do, but then try and come back into the forest and try and help the forest from getting a few more trees out, sort of thing. That's my thinking, anyway.
Delcroix, AJ.
Who?
Delcroix, Irish guy.
No, I don't know actually.
Okay, it's not relevant. I'll credit him for his example. It's not necessarily in the same context, but it'll make sense at the end. So he was talking about the Freeman movement and various different contracts that you don't necessarily have to engage in. unless you're using your legal name. But the analogy he gave was that he was saying a similar thing, which is to say you distance yourself from that control structure and, not take part of it. And my question to him was, well, what about when you want to drive a car or get a license? Obviously he was aware of the complications around trying to incorporate your car, for example, into your own property. It's just not possible based on the control structure they've got set up, even though it seems that way on paper. And his answer to me was to say that the legal name is like a coat. And when it's required,
in the car, you're traveling, you're not driving.
You're hijacking my point completely, AJ. Thank you so much.
Sorry, Nathan.
Yeah, that's all right. So he was saying it's like a coat. So your legal name is like a coat that you metaphorically put on when you need to fill out one of those forms. But it isn't you. You can just take the coat back off again and become you, distanced from that forest that you're describing. In other words, the people who want to completely detach themselves from society have effectively thrown away the coat, and they can't then put it back on to go back in and do useful things like we're doing now. Every one of us on this panel has that coat on. We're out there, we're online, we're talking about it, we're discussing these, in some cases, esoteric questions. Well, that's a coat. Metaphorically the same as the free man or legal name coat that Delcroix was talking about. Anyway, that was it.
Yeah, I do understand what you're saying, Nathan, but you can either go in with a coat or you can take the coat off and go in cold and do what you've got to do without a coat on. I mean, Babylon just basically put a Roman coat on. Babylon is still here. They just put a Roman coat on, and they're doing exactly the same as what they've done 2,000 years ago. And then 2,000 years ago, when Rome put that coat on, it was a Babylon coat, from creation. There's only two things, Nathan. It's either a Big Bang or creation. And as you're a flat earther and you understand the laws of flat earth and what you see in reality and this, that, and the other, it can only be one or two things, Nathan: creation or evolution. And evolution has only been around 500 years, where the flat earth was around well before creation. So the Jesuits and the Zionists and the Luciferian Vatican just come up with this culture of, we live and grow. And everybody's just fallen for it, and we're just zombies to it. Simple. And NASA, and, you had the First World War, the Second World War, which were all engineered. First World War, we took out the Austrian prince, and it could go on forever, but our world is just programmed as we see.
For a Christian, you sure do adhere to the duality of controlled opposition, of the Hegelian dialectic.
I know all about them. I know all about them.
So either one or the other?
I am for Jesus Christ and the way.
But you do fit into the same model that they...
I don't believe in anything else. I just believe in Jesus Christ. He died, he came, he rose on the third day, and he came to absolve our sins, and he came to put a...
We can grasp that. We can grasp that just by you saying that you're a Christian. Thanks, AJ. I'm just saying you do presume...
I'm getting them back, and he will come back and get us.
And you do presume that it's always one or the other. It's creationism or it's evolution. It's the same model that they've prescribed to you, which you don't prescribe to, but you are prescribing to. Do you not see that?
10 minutes, all right. I'll do it in 10 minutes, okay? I'll take 5 minutes from motorways, okay? All right. Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, you need to be a bit more vigilant with the mute button.
Anyways, all I want to say is that we don't have to prescribe to the model that whoever, I would say, the controllers of the masses set up for us. It doesn't have to be one or the other, black or right, or white, left or right. We can choose a different path. It doesn't have to be one that's set up for us.
there is two ontological primitives, which Nathan did mention before, which I think we need to be aware of. I mean, that's not necessarily something the system gave us, but it does talk about the nature of reality. You know, there is either all nature or a creator. That's not necessarily a Hegelian dialectic. That's just two options logically.
Yeah, it's not a false dichotomy either. It's, yeah, the ontological primitives are one or the other. I mean, as much as AJ said it about 10 times, some people just don't get that, which is, I understand why he would say it as rhetoric, because most people just don't accept that. But Paul is absolutely correct.
He's not correct, because if you have a creator or natural design, it doesn't mean that it equals a singularity.
So what's the third choice?
Everything has always been here. There's actually a creator violates thermodynamics in that you can't create or destroy matter.
But even if things have always existed, that means that's still nature. So you've still not resolved the problem.
Right.
You've still got the initial. It's either nature or creator. That's only two options you got.
Right. But nature is fine. It's just that I'll be backed into the corner of a singularity, which I don't agree with. It's a card trick. It's a parlor trick.
But see, then you run into the infinite regress fallacy. You can't have an infinite regress, even in that perspective.
Explain an infinite regress.
Well, I've said it to you before. There's got to be an initial cause of something, even initial cause of intelligence, initial cause of any event. Even time has to have an initial beginning point. It can't be an infinite into the past. It just can't. You explain to me how it can.
On a local level.
What do you mean on a local level?
As far as Earth and what's happening here, but as far as the sun may have always been here, and you can't say it has or hasn't.
So we're going to go back to the sun again issue, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of a problem. I know you don't like to see it. You just like to reset it in your head, but that's how it is.
No, I mean, I'm not. It's just that you keep going there, but I mean, even the sun had to have a beginning. I mean, there has to be initial cause for it.
You can presuppose that all you want. You can presuppose that all you want. That's your faith. That's your belief.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
I think the problem with all that is that we'll never actually know. So we're all kind of just speculating.
Yeah, sorry to disrupt this fundy fest. It sounded fun for a while, but it's starting to get annoying.
Well, I will ask this question, Flat Earther, since you're finally listening. I did ask this question, and you didn't seem to respond. How can chemical reactions account for knowledge and information?
It does it just fine. You think it's a consciousness that needs to be added to the chemicals, but chemicals, our bodies, our brains, our receptors, everything that's happening in us physically, it's how we get our information and how we use it in life, in our journey in life. You don't need a consciousness for that.
Right.
No, that's not my question. I mean, how do you count? You still didn't answer my question. How does chemical reaction account for information? What you just said did not answer that question. You just give me a lot of, this is the way it is, this is how it happens, It doesn't answer my question. How does chemical reactions account for information?
That chemical reaction is when the sperm meets the egg in a vesica piscis. That is creation. That's
yeah, but you and Paul,
the vesica piscis is
AJ, you and Paul are in agreement, whereas Flat and Earth is of a different opinion. So he's saying Earth has been here already. It's here. It always was. Which I'm not being critical. Well, I am, but it doesn't address.
The garden was here before creation.
AJ.
The garden.
AJ.
And
AJ. So there's
yeah,
Flat.
sorry, mate.
It's all right.
Sorry, mate.
there's Flat Earth and Paul. The only reason I'm intervening is because you've intervened. So I'm now trying to get them back on track, which is to say that Flat Earth has a different opinion, which is to say that the Earth was in existence already. Now, Paul's question is, how do you have information or knowledge if it was just here as a... Well, maybe you can elaborate, Paul.
Well, I mean, the only thing you can have in if it's all nature, it's just forces acting on each other. That's all you have, or chemical reactions occurring in your brain. Or the best way I've heard it is like fizzing in the soda can. You know, I shake up a soda can and it fizzes. You know, you can't come to any kind of truth-based knowledge from just chemical reactions of chemicals occurring or forces interacting with each other. That doesn't account for information itself. I don't know if that makes it a little bit more clear.
Yeah, you don't need information.
If everything's always...
You don't need information for the can to do what it's doing. You just need its existence.
But we need information to even have this conversation. We need to have some level of there's information occurring between the two of us in our conversation. If all we are is a bunch of chemicals interacting with each other, how is what makes my chemical reaction truer than your chemical reaction?
That our chemical reactions formed our brains, and that's where the information is stored.
Consciousness is not a chemical reaction.
That doesn't account for the experience. That doesn't account for
consciousness is not a chemical reaction. Okay.
Doesn't account for the experience.
That's right.
Well, yeah, you go have an experience.
You have a chemical angle to how we experience.
Is that experience in this realm? Is it? Is this consciousness only experiencing this realm? Is that what you're saying?
Well, AJM,
your
said there was a garden here before,
only
right?
to this realm. Understand? Okay.
Hold on. So,
I don't know what you're saying.
Okay, hold on.
Hold on,
We've got to the point.
I don't
God.
understand what you're saying.
AJ, sorry. AJ.
Is in this world.
AJ, my friend. AJ, for the love of God. AJ, please stop talking. I don't want to have to eject you after saying your name 7 times.
Sorry, Nathan.
Right, so Flat Earth was halfway through answering the question. So he's saying that the chemicals that are taking place in order for you to have a brain and have it have chemical reactions in the first place accounts for knowledge. Is that correct, Flat Earth? And then feel free to elaborate.
Yeah, it accounts for whatever we learn. We have the facilities to do that.
Okay, so do you have a chemical formula for information?
So does consciousness...
Oh God, AJ, I'm trying to get an answer. The only person who has a different opinion on the panel.
Shut the hell up! It's not your turn.
AJ, it's the only person who has a different opinion on the panel, and you're answering for him repeatedly. Go ahead, Flat Earth.
No, I don't have a chemical formula for information.
So, in that case, can you repeat your question, Paul, because it hasn't been answered?
Well, I was going to use an analogy. Have you ever seen the Mementos and Diet Coke experiment? You know, where you put the Mementos in a Diet Coke and it fizzes. Okay, the Mentos and the Diet Coke are experiencing each other, but there's no information being exchanged, but there's an experience involved. You know, so you can say they experience each other, but that still doesn't account for the information. I still don't. Just you saying what you're saying doesn't account for information. It doesn't account for how we can have this conversation. Explain to me through a chemical process how we're having this conversation.
He's already answered that.
What chemical process? What forces? Okay.
All right. So the Mentos and the soda don't need information for whatever to happen. They just need their existence.
So how is there any truth value in that? Like what truth claim or what truth or anything that can come from just us experiencing each other in this way? So if there's just if it's just us experiencing each other, what truth is in that? Like, I don't know if I'm maybe making any sense, but what
Well,
truth
those
claim are you
two
making, or what
objects,
can you make from that?
those two objects are physical, right? And that's what makes them true.
So chemical interactions are controlling language, you saying?
That's a good question.
I was going to say
Or
that's a
go ahead
fair
and answer that
question.
What
Come on,
define
educate.
chemical reactions?
Say again, Flat Earth.
Chemical reactions.
Define chemical reactions. Do you mean everything our being, physical being?
So chemical reactions control language. Is that what you're saying? And our consciousness of mind over matter of our language.
Our brains control
No,
our language.
So our brain. So what's in that brain?
Hold on, AJ. I'm not hearing the answer.
Sorry.
Say again, Flat Earth.
Our brains control our language and everything that we do, obviously.
Let me get a little bit more specific in the brain. What's going on inside the brain? Tell me how the neurochemicals, the interaction of the neurons, and all that's occurring. Can you explain that to me? Break it down and show me at what level that information is occurring at that level.
Does anybody really know that?
Exactly, brother.
Hang on, AJ. Just let him answer this. I mean, if you take an anatomy in college, okay. So then really you can't, then if you don't know, then really you can't, I mean, well, I guess I don't know if I can go there. If you don't know how it's occurring, I mean, basic chemistry is basically interacting with each other, different, I don't know, I'm getting myself lost here. I'll just make a statement, and I'll make a claim. You cannot gain information from any chemical reaction, and your body is going through constant chemical reaction at the neural level, between neurons, between DNA processing of proteins, through hormonal, all that stuff is happening inside your body, and none of that can account for the information that's transpiring. It can't account for our conversation. It can't, and I'll make that claim, and you're going to have to prove otherwise.
But yet it does happen in our bodies because here we are doing it.
Well, here, like I said this before, like we are using words. The words aren't the information; they're the means by which you carry the words are what carry the information, right? A record player is a means by which information is carried. It's carrying the music. A chalkboard is carrying the information. It isn't the information. None of it, those are just carriers. You could say that chemicals are the carriers of the information, but they can't account for the information.
Does what goes into the mind come out the mouth?
Yeah, I don't think the information is what's important. It's existence. Information is just a concept that we use to be able to communicate and to evolve. But I don't think in the end it's not necessary to have this information.
So it's not necessary to have a conversation.
If there's no information, how does anything happen?
So consciousness.
Well,
so
it's not information, it's existence. Existence happens for whatever reason, everything is in a balance. But the turning it into information is just something that people do to interpret what's happening, to define things. But it's in the end, it's not necessary. Because these things are going to exist regardless of the information that you've applied to define things.
So what happens when you what happens
So what
when
about
you
the
think?
information inherent in the design of these things, like life?
So what chemical reaction?
It just all naturally happens on Earth.
Right. So where's the information coming from then? In order,
It's
for
not
the order to
information.
form?
It's just existence.
So
No,
what
it's
chemical
not. It's
reaction
order. It's
happens?
order.
Sugars
So where's the
exist.
order coming from?
You have dextrose and all these different chemicals that attach to DNA strands. You can call it information by applying a color or a number to it. But at the end of the day, it's just sugar and chemicals
how
that are
does the order
existing
come out of the
and that
chaos?
are attracting to each other,
Sugar
just
and
like
spice
magnets
and all
attract.
things
How
nicer.
does
It's
the
no
order
different than
come out of the
magnets.
chaos?
It's always, everything has always been in order. Everything is attracted to everything
I-
else, just like magnets are. Magnets attract to each other.
That
If
doesn't
you attach
answer the
magnets,
question.
they
If
make
everything would
fractals,
always be
which
in
just keep growing.
equilibrium, then everything would stay as it is. And according to your philosophy, then nothing would come into existence.
I think everything would be exactly the same, which is what it is.
No, there's information.
Well,
because
here's a
it's time.
question.
So where is that information coming
It's existence. You can keep calling it information because that's what you need.
Yeah,
But
it's a
just
design.
It's thinking on your
It's not
spaceship.
random.
Yeah, I'm not
Erwin,
saying
let me
it's
jump in
random.
just for a second. Erwin, let me jump in just for a second. If it's just experience and it's just the way it always is, if we apply, remember every concept has an implication. Every concept has an implication. You can't trust nothing you say, if flat earther, you can't, because all you're saying is it's just the chemical reactions. It's just the way it is. There's no truth value in anything you say.
Yeah.
No truth value in anything I say.
I do. That's how I feel.
Can
But
I?
we have to go on to keep on moving on. I have to work. I have to be good at it. I have to raise my kids. I can live thinking like a nihilist, but that's not going to get me anywhere. I'm too smart for that. But I realize that that's the reality of it. And I don't care about that. I'm fine. I enjoy my existence. I enjoy my family. I enjoy you guys. And that's all I need. I don't need much more. I don't need to know or think I know what's happening because I don't.
Alan, I understand exactly what you're saying. Hold on, can I get a quick word in there? Just a quick one.
Welcome back,
Alan.
James.
Alan, I hear exactly where you're coming from. I get it.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
The only thing is you're enjoying. Sorry, Ebot. I'm sorry. Let me just real quick. Ebot, even then, you can't even say your enjoyment is true enjoyment. It's just chemical reactions occurring in your brain.
Yeah.
So then really, there's nothing. Then you have to, if you're going to live consistent with your worldview, then you need to live consistent with your worldview. Then say that all I'm doing is having a chemical reaction occurring in my brain.
Yeah.
It's just
That's
hormones.
exactly
It's just
how I feel.
whatever.
That's exactly how I feel.
Well,
but I don't need a God. I don't need to be a Christian to be happy, to feel whole, to feel like I'll have an afterlife and I'll see my family there. I'm seeing them now.
But I'm not even saying.
I wouldn't want it any
Have
other
I
way.
have I said in any of this argument said anything about Christianity except to AJ directly?
Well, you're telling me like my life is somehow invalid just because I realize that it is. It is invalid, but I don't see that as a negative. I'm perfectly happy and content where I am. I don't need to believe in a creator to change my worldview. Everything is perfect. It's great.
But any of that, now if I just take what you say, then it's just a chemical reaction that we're interacting with. So really, there's no truth statement, truth value in anything you're saying. So I'm gonna have to start treating you. I'm gonna have to start treating you just like you're saying. I'm gonna say, well, you're just a chemical reaction occurring. That's all you are. Okay. So really, I can't believe anything you're saying. So it really doesn't.
At the end of the day, we may be in a simulation, but I realize I can't live my life that way. I have to vibe with everybody else, or it's not going to work. You can treat
these foolish notions to be a human being.
How does a chemical reaction have? How does that have feeling? You said you enjoy your family, enjoy your life, you enjoy us, right? How is just the chemical reaction allowing that?
My brain.
Hey, Chocolate, check it out. Check it out.
Just
please. 1 minute.
I'm sorry. Say again.
Just 1 second. If you look at a CPU, or if you look at a piece of code, for software, it's just literally zeros and ones. It's just signal here, signal there, or not signal there, at a specific time. So, if you look at it, you just look at zeros and ones. You look at chemicals. But you have a protocol, you have a language, assembly language. If you're thinking that way, or a protocol, if you're thinking about communication, And it's just a way that by we, I mean programmers, software developers, network engineers, those guys determined that this sequence of bits means this. So you have a Ethernet frame, you dump it, you have a bunch of zeros and ones. You say, okay, the first 16 bits are the version number. Or, well, that's too much. The first 2 bits are the version number. The next 40 bits are this address. And then you have a couple of flags. And then the last 48 bits are the destination frame or address. And then you have like a CRC check to make sure that the frame is actually correct. And then you have a little padding at the end. Anyway, so it's just a protocol. So if you look at it without the knowledge of what this IEEE standard is, meaning this spec that was written by a bunch of people, it would just be zeros and ones. It would just be chemical reactions. It would just be signal here, electric signal here, electric signal not there. But when you read the manual, when you read the white paper, the RFC, you read it, you're like, oh, okay, so that's what this means. So and that's what brings me into realizing that this is, even though it's chemicals, even though it's just reaction, somebody had to program it for our meat machine to consider this chemical reaction as pain, to consider this chemical reaction as joy, and this chemical reaction as, being horny, whatever, and erect the penis, whatever you got to do. My point is, somebody had to program this, and I don't mean a God, I don't mean Jesus, I don't mean one person. To me, it feels like it was a company, like a group of people that had meetings. Like, all right, so should we make birds? All right, how many birds do we need? All right, we can make this many amount of birds. Okay, let's make some of them, like this. All right, let's have them interact with each other too. Okay, if these 2 birds get together, they can make this. There were meetings, and there were conference calls, and some people made the meat, some people made the feather, some people wrote the code, somebody made the beak, and it's not just one creator. I feel like it's a huge factory of things.
You're going down the wrong path.
No,
There's only one creator.
It's valid. I like it.
Elohim made us all, and
We already know about Elohim, AJ. You've already discussed it 2 hours ago.
Okay.
Please let Anon.
So you still don't understand then?
Can I address Anon?
So you still don't understand.
Please don't tell me you're
Elohim,
gonna understand.
Elohim
You don't
in the
understand,
Bible is not God the Almighty. Elohim are the fallen ones, where it says, "Let us make man in our."
Dude,
image."
it's just a book. Okay, so the software people were like,
hang
all
on.
right, let's make these.
Elohim.
AJ, please stop.
Elohim
Please.
in Hebrew.
Please, and you're not even referencing what you're talking about. Are you talking about the Nag Hammadi? Are you talking about Gnostic scripture? Are you talking about
No, I'm not
the
talking
Orthodox
about
scripture?
Kabbalism or Gnostic. I'm talking about the proper words in the strong concordance of what the words mean in Hebrew. Gods in the Bible, little gods with the small g mean Elohim.
Bible?
There's only one Bible, and don't.
King James?
No, there's more than one Bible.
There's only
Which
one
Bible?
King JV, and that's
More than
it.
one Bibles.
There's only one Bible, and you.
What about the Latin
No,
Vulgate?
again, you are wrong.
Yeah, you got
There are more than
okay,
one
yeah.
Bibles. Please specify
Yeah, you've
the
got the
Bible
Latin
that you
Vulgate,
are
you've got
talking
all the
about.
12 Bibles before the King JV, and then they were all incorporated in.
Listen, man.
Francis Bacon uses words well when he translated the Bible into the King JV. We all know that, but the words are true that Jesus spoke. End of story. And the words that were spoken.
I was just trying to explain the chemicals and the protocol. That's all I was trying to do.
The old Hebrew
I
Bible.
do want to hear the end of your point, Anon. I do.
Well, I mean, it really didn't have. It kind of ended. I mean, that was my point. It's like, it's not just one thing. I feel like there are too many parts, and each part was made by a group of people that were, or group of whatever, that were,
Put the parts together, and then you'll get a proper part.
AJ, please don't interrupt it on.
I just don't. I just don't understand how one person or one entity can can do all this without
He's God.
help.
He can do anything.
Hold on.
Well, you're just a mortal. You're just a mortal human.
AJ, okay.
I know I am, bro. I'm just trying to.
You think as a human, you can comprehend what the gods can do.
And
No,
you can
I'm not.
comprehend any
I'm
better,
trying to
AJ?
say-
Please let Anand finish.
If you can think what the gods do in this world,
This is speculating. I'm not saying this is real. This is just spitballing, as we say. I'm just spitballing. I'm just saying I don't understand yet.
You spitball with all the governments, what the governments are doing. You just
I don't know about. No, here's the thing, but I'm telling you that this is not. I'm not
How
telling
would
you
like
this is
it if I
real.
just kept interrupting you, AJ? Would you like that?
Sorry?
How about if I kept
AJ.
interrupting you, AJ? Would you like that?
AJ.
How would you like it if I kept interrupting you? Okay, please let
I love everyone.
What
mate.
if I just kept interrupting you whenever you spoke and I can't even...
I love
I'm sick of this. I mean, shut up.
Me too. As this show has now descended into total rumpusing, I will say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you joining us in the Nathan Oakley premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, sharing, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. If you need something to keep you occupied after this stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Also, a massive thank you to all of today's live panel for making this after show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!